Welcome back. This is Dan Havey with CF Ninja Hacks, and today we're going to answer Katie's question. She was wondering how you could change the font. You see right here on the page, they have the font changed in the navigation element, and she wanted this based upon the page that somebody was on. She also said based on, however, I did not build that in here, but to change out the font, and in our case, we changed out the color and a couple other things based upon which page they were on in the navigation element. So first off, you got to think about what a navigation element really is for on a page, and we'll go here. And I'll tell you this ahead of time. I built this as a funnel just for ease of use. How you would probably build this is you would have your site homepage, and then you'd have a separate standalone page for like your about page. I also have here a blog page as well, and a page for resources. So I just built out these 4 different pages. Like I said, normally these would be separate standalone pages, or this could be like the blog homepage here, or anything else. But I just did it in the funnel here just to make it easy on myself. So we're going to come in here, we're going to edit this page, and up at the top I put in a universal element, and I carried that universal element through each one of the pages within my funnel. And so we're going to take a look at this, and inside of our universal element, then we have a navigation element. Now, if you look at the code inside of the navigation element, once you have it on a live page, there's nothing in here that says, oh, hey, this is the page that we're currently on. So what we have to do is we have to figure out, okay, what page are they on, by using a little bit of JavaScript code to pull down what the address of the page is. And then we have to say, okay, we need to match that up with one of the elements inside of the navigation element, and then change the color, the font, the whatever. So let me show you what this looks like in real life. And you see it right here. I kind of used a crazy font I had in here. I think it's called Ninja Strike. And so there we go. And if we come over here, we click on blog, that'll change it out there, and about, and everything else as the new pages all come loading in. So let's take a look how we did this. It's only a couple lines of code and a little bit of CSS. So the first thing I had to do is come in and create the element itself. And it's very simple. I created a homepage, about, blog, and resources. And then I had to go over here and grab a hold of each address from each one of these pages and put them in right there, so the knows where to go. So here's a link for our about page. Here's a link for our blog page. So that's all you have to do as far as setting up this element. And then so we'll discard the changes there. And then I set up the rest of the page, and here it says home. If we come over here to about, it just says about on the page there, just so we knew which page we were on. And I bounced out of the universal here. I need to go back into the universal, because it's within this universal section that we want to actually put our code. So we're going to do that here. We're going to come over to our settings. We're going to show our code, and I don't have any CSS in here, and that's because I put it right here onto the page between these 2 style tags. So you can put a style tag in there. It's an HTML element, and it's a style tag. You put it in there, and then you can put your styling right here. Or what I could do is I could just copy this out of there and then bring it over and just paste it in right there, and it would have the same effect as putting it between these 2 style tags. So as you're going to see here, the code we're putting in for our script is very, very simple. We just say let link, so this is the link to the page, the URL to the page, whatever you want to call it. I just happen to call it link. So the URL for the page, we say location.href. And what that does is it essentially goes into the address line. Think of it this way. It goes into the address line and grabs out whatever's in the address line. The entirety of the URL that's in the address line, that's what it's going to grab a hold of. It probably doesn't actually pull it out of the address line, but think of it that way. Whatever is in the address line up here, so let's look here. So whatever is right here in the address line, the entirety of it, which is the HTTPS and colon / www, whatever you have there, and any path at the end is what it will grab out of there. So then the second line of code just says we want to go out and we want to find the href that is equal to that which we just pulled out of the address line. and then we want to add the class to that of new font, and then down here is a new font. But before I get there, let me just show you what I'm talking about. Let's go to this line here. We're going to right click on that. We are going to say inspect it, and we're going to come down here, and this is what we're looking for right here. We have an href right there equal to what was in the address line right there. So that's what's in the address line. This here is the href on the page, the hypertext reference on the page, the anchor text on the page. Well, actually, technically, that's the anchor text. But it's looking for this same address that we pulled out of here. Now, that should only be one place on the page. If you were to have multiple navigations on the page, you're going to have to slightly change the selector from just the href to something else. You probably put in a custom attribute or something. But if you do that and you're having problems, just reach out to me. But all we're going to do here is say, okay, find this one here. So it says, okay, here's the element right there. And then we're going to go in and we're going to change a bunch of the CSS. And that is right down here where we put in the stuff for our new font. So let's just take a look what I put in there. And I just named this class whatever you want to name it. I just happen to name it new font. And I said here, we want the font family of font 88, Roboto, and sans serif. I'll come back to that in a minute. We want a font size of 32 pixels, a color of orange, and then I put some text shadow around it just to make that orange stick out a little bit from the red background, just because you couldn't see it otherwise. And the font size could be different size or whatever. But you get the point here that you can change the CSS once you get in here however you want it to be. Now let's go back up here to our font, because here's something a little tricky. I decided I wanted to use a custom font for this right here. So let's just click in here and let's take a look at our fonts. Let's come down to where is this hiding out. So here we got sans serif. So up here at the top we have our custom fonts, and we have 6 different custom fonts in here. And so if I want to use one of these, I can't just say Avenir Havey in quotes. I can't say that. You put it in quotes because there's space in the middle there. If it's only one word, you don't need quotes. I couldn't do that because it doesn't pick it up that way. It doesn't store it that way. So if you want to use a custom font that you have in here, if you want to use that in any kind of code, what you have to do is come into the code here, come up to the top, come to head. We're going to scroll down here till we get down to right here, custom fonts. We're going to open this up. And in this case here, it's font -88. Now, is there any way of telling that this is actually the Ninja font that I wanted to use? No, you can't. What you got to do is basically put in each one of these, and then you'll know. But what I also notice here is that they are in exact opposite order of what we have here on the page. So font 88 is the last one, and they go in reverse order. So that'll probably be the easiest way to figure it out. But again, you just put in the numbers. There's not that many. Put in the numbers, see which one pops up on the screen, and then you can go there. So now I just grab this here, font 88. And again, because there is no, let's go back into here. Because there is no space in here, I don't need quotes. If there was a space, I would just put single or double quotes around it. Doesn't matter which one you use. And then you normally put in a backup font. So if font 88 for some reason isn't working, even though it should because it is declared in the code, I said, okay, well, just give me a Roboto font instead. And then if there is no Roboto font available, it will use the sans serif font that is built into the browser. That's what you do here for your font families. And then otherwise, we just call that font, and away we go. So there we go. Big whopping 2 lines of JavaScript, a little bit of CSS, and we're good to go. So if you got any questions, just let me know.